Hi there, Rangers family. What a great day to talk about the mighty Glasgow Rangers. Before we jump into the latest developments from IBROX, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's been part of this amazing community. Every view, every comment, every message of support keeps this channel alive, and it means the world. All right, let's get into it, because today there's plenty to unpack about how this team is shaping up under Danny Rohl, and how a few players, especially Mikey Moore, are beginning to flip the narrative in incredible ways. Now, a few weeks ago, the conversation around Mikey Moore wasn't exactly positive. Let's be honest, things looked rough. The young winger came up from Tottenham Hotspur with high expectations. Fans were buzzing about what he could bring, but early on, life in Glasgow seemed to be testing him more than anyone expected. The Scottish Premiership is no walk in the park, and for a teenager stepping into a high-pressure environment like Rangers, it was always going to be a steep climb. His debut performances didn't exactly turn heads. He struggled to adapt to the physicality, the tempo, and the expectations that come with wearing that famous blue shirt. Back when Russell Martin was in charge, the team as a whole was struggling for rhythm. Rangers weren't dominating games the way supporters are used to seeing, and that lack of collective confidence made it even harder for a young player like Moore to find his feet. Every touch, every missed chance was being analyzed, and as the pressure grew, it started to show in his performances. Fans began to question whether this loan deal had been a mistake. You could feel the tension, especially after that frustrating draw against Falkirk, a game that summed up everything that wasn't clicking for him. The critics were loud, the doubts were real, and rumours began to swirl that Spurs might recall him early in January, cutting short what seemed to be a stalled chapter in his development. But as football so often reminds us, things can change in the blink of an eye. When Danny Rohl walked through the doors of IBROX on the 20th of October, everything began to shift. The German coach brought with him a new energy, a different mindset, and a system that instantly changed the team's dynamics. Suddenly, Rangers started pressing higher, playing faster, with more aggression and purpose, and in the middle of that transformation, Mikey Moore began to rediscover himself. Under Rohl, the winger's confidence has grown visibly. He's been given freedom to express himself on the pitch, encouraged to take players on, and trusted to make mistakes while learning from them. That's a massive difference for a young player trying to adapt in a foreign league. You can see it in his body language. He's no longer shying away from challenges or second-guessing his decisions. He looks like someone who believes he belongs at this level. 6 appearances under the new boss, and each one showing more improvement than the last. That spark, that attacking instinct that made Spurs fans rate him so highly in their academy, is now starting to come through in Glasgow. The supporters have noticed too. Where there was once frustration, there's now encouragement. You can hear it in the stands. Every touch, every run down the flank is met with anticipation rather than anxiety. Even voices from outside the club have begun to acknowledge the shift. Former scouts and insiders have spoken about how crucial it is for Mikey to stay at Rangers for the full season. Returning to Tottenham now wouldn't make sense. He wouldn't break into their senior side just yet. What he needs is game time, consistency, and the kind of environment where he's challenged every week. And that's exactly what he's getting at IBROX. This is how young talents grow, through tough spells, through criticism, through finding a way to rise when everything seems to be going against them. Moore is living that story right now. And let's be real, this isn't just about one player turning a corner. This is about a team and a manager finding the right balance. Since Rohl arrived, there's been a new rhythm to Rangers' play. Domestically, They've started to find their groove again. The passing looks sharper, the intensity is back, and even though the European form still needs work, the overall direction feels positive. The atmosphere around the club is different, hopeful, energetic, and united. For a while, it felt like Rangers were stuck in neutral, but now you get the sense that this group is building towards something stronger. What makes this story even better is the way it highlights how crucial leadership is in football. Danny Rohl didn't just change tactics, he changed the mindset. He gave opportunities to players who looked lost under the previous management and made them believe again. Mikey Moore is the perfect example of that. With trust and a clear plan, the teenager has started to show glimpses of the player everyone hoped he'd be. There's still a long way to go, of course, but he's finally moving in the right direction, and that's massive for both him and the club. Meanwhile, and the club. Another player looking to revive his Rangers career under Rohl is Yousef Chimiti. His journey has been rocky too. The young Portuguese striker came in with plenty of promise after his time at Everton, but adapting to Scottish football has been no easy task. Physical games, packed defences, and the constant scrutiny that comes with being one of Rangers' big signings, it can overwhelm even the most talented prospects. His early months were filled with missed chances and frustration, and fans began to lose patience. But just like Moore, Chimiti is now getting a fresh chance to prove himself. Rohl believes in giving young players time to grow, and sources close to the team suggest the manager plans to give Chimiti a consistent run in the starting lineup. We've already seen glimpses of improvement. His goal against Kilmarnock near the end of October reminded everyone of his potential. Sure, the semi-final against Celtic wasn't his best moment, and some supporters voiced their frustration after that match. But confidence in football can flip overnight. Rohl seems convinced there's a real player in there, someone who just needs rhythm, sharpness, and backing. And when you look at Chimiti's background, his early promise in Portugal, his move to the Premier League, it's clear there's talent waiting to be unlocked. He's just got to embrace the moment now, because the next few months could define his Rangers career. The message from inside IBROX seems clear. This is a period for rebuilding confidence, both individually and collectively. Young players like Moore and Chimiti are central to that project. They represent the future, players who can grow with the club rather than being short-term fixes. And if Rohl continues to nurture them the way he has over these past few weeks, Rangers could be looking at two genuine success stories, born from perseverance and belief. It's never easy wearing that badge. The standards at Rangers are sky high, and the supporters expect nothing less than full commitment and passion every time someone steps onto the pitch. But it's that same expectation that pushes players to become better. And watching this transformation unfold from a team under pressure to one showing signs of real promise is exactly what makes following this club so special. IBROX has always been a place where stories of redemption and growth are written, and right now we're watching a few new chapters being added to that legacy. That's the beauty of football. You never quite know when everything will click. One managerial change, one moment of belief, and suddenly a player who looked out of place becomes someone essential. Mikey Moore's resurgence is proof of that. The energy is different now, the crowd can feel it, and the players are feeding off it. The blue side of Glasgow is alive again, buzzing with optimism and ready for the challenges ahead. And as we look ahead, there's a real sense that something is building at IBROX. The shift in mood around the club isn't just about recent wins or a few good performances. It's about belief returning to the stands and the dressing room. For a while, that belief had faded. The early months of the season were turbulent, filled with frustration and uncertainty, but Danny Rohl's influence has steadied the ship. You can feel the difference in how the players move, how they communicate, and how they carry themselves. The football looks braver now, more expressive, more in line with the kind of identity Rangers fans expect from their team. For Mikey Moore, this is the kind of environment every young player dreams of. A manager who trusts him, a fan base that's starting to see what he can bring, and a system designed to get the best out of wide players who love to attack. He's not the finished article yet, not by a long shot, but the progress he's shown in just a few weeks under Rohl has been remarkable. It's easy to forget sometimes that he's still only 18. He's learning the game, growing stronger, and slowly understanding what it means to play for a club where every touch matters. The pressure can break some players, but for Moore, it's beginning to shape him into something more resilient. If you've watched his recent matches, you'll notice the subtle changes. His first touch is sharper, his positioning more intelligent, and his decision-making quicker. He's not just hugging the touchline anymore. He's drifting inside, linking up with midfielders, creating space for fullbacks to overlap. Those are the small things that separate potential from performance. You can tell he's starting to read the game with more maturity. The trust between him and his teammates has grown too. Passes that once hesitated now flow naturally, and when he gets the ball, there's an expectation that something might happen. That's when you know a player's turning the corner. Danny Rohl's tactical approach seems to fit more perfectly. The German coach values pace, pressing, and creativity. He doesn't want his wingers standing still. He wants them causing chaos, stretching defenses, and forcing mistakes. For a player like Mikey, who thrives on direct runs and quick transitions, it's the ideal setup. You can see how much more comfortable he looks when given the freedom to take risks. That's what Spurs saw in him when he was coming through their academy, a player with raw energy, skill, and the courage to try something different. Now, under Rohl's guidance, those qualities are finally starting to shine through on Scottish soil. Of course, it's still early days. A few good games don't erase the challenges he faced, but they do change the perception. Suddenly, he's no longer the uncertain, lonely, struggling to adapt. He's becoming a symbol of the new Rangers, young, fearless, and hungry to prove people wrong. The fans have taken notice. You can hear it when his name is announced at IBROX. The cheers are louder, the confidence is back. It's those moments of connection between the supporters and the players that create the heartbeat of this club. Meanwhile, Yousef Chimiti's story runs parallel in many ways. Another young player with potential who's had to learn the hard way what it means to play for Rangers. The scrutiny is relentless, the standards sky high. But if Moore's resurgence is any indication, there's hope that Chimiti can follow a similar path. Rohl has clearly seen something in him, something worth investing time in. That goal against Kilmarnock wasn't just about getting on the score sheet. It was a glimpse of what he's capable of when his confidence is flowing. He's powerful, he's direct, and when he's in the right headspace, he can be a handful for any defender in the league. What's crucial now is consistency. Chimiti needs minutes, rhythm, and backing. You can't expect a young forward to explode overnight, especially in a league as demanding as the Scottish Premiership, but Rohl seems committed to giving him the chance to grow, and that patience could pay off in a big way. The Rangers manager understands player development on a deeper level. He knows that improvement isn't linear, that some games will frustrate fans, but those same games are often where players learn the most. The faith he's showing in these younger guys is exactly what this squad has been missing. It's also worth mentioning how much the overall balance of the team has improved since the managerial change. The midfield looks more cohesive, the defensive line more disciplined, and the attacking transitions more purposeful. It's not perfect yet. There's still work to do, especially in Europe, where the challenges are bigger, but there's progress. That's what matters most at this stage of the season. The players seem to enjoy their football again, and when that happens, everything else follows. You can see smiles at training, camaraderie in the locker room, and a real hunger to compete. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Drama's brewing in Glasgow tonight as whispers from IBROX suggest a seismic shift at Rangers. Goalkeeper Jack Butland, the man who's been a fortress between the sticks, has reportedly made a decision that could send shockwaves through the Scottish Premiership. Sources close to the club hint that Butland is set to leave Rangers, a move that would leave fans reeling and the squad scrambling for stability. Butland, who arrived with high expectations and quickly became a fan favourite, has been a pillar in the team's recent campaigns. His commanding presence and safe hands have saved the Light Blues on countless occasions, but it seems even legends can't escape the lure of new challenges. The rumour mill is running wild with speculation. Could it be a transfer south to England, a big money move abroad, or even a shock return to the Premier League's top flight? Nobody's saying for sure, but the tension around IBROX is palpable. Insiders whisper that the decision wasn't easy. Butland has reportedly held lengthy talks with the Rangers hierarchy, weighing loyalty against ambition. Sources suggest that while the club is desperate to keep him, the keeper himself is driven by an opportunity he simply couldn't refuse. For supporters, it's a bitter pill. The squad might be losing not just a player, but a leader, a voice of experience in a team hungry for silverware. Meanwhile, the Rangers faithful have taken to social media in droves, debating the potential impact of his exit. Would a replacement of equal caliber emerge from the youth ranks, or is a frantic hunt for a high-profile signing imminent? Speculation is reaching fever pitch, and the club has been tight-lipped, neither confirming nor denying the rumours. The atmosphere in Glasgow feels electric, charged with anticipation, worry, and a touch of disbelief. If this saga proves true, it's a moment that could redefine Rangers' season. Butland's gloves have guarded the goalmouth with distinction, and now fans must brace themselves for a world without him. One thing's certain, whichever way this story unfolds, Scottish football is watching, and IBROX may never be quite the same again. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.